All right, good evening, and let's begin with a word of prayer. Heavenly Father, we give you thanks for this session today, and we ask for your continued grace and blessing to be with us, even now in our discussion. This is our prayer in Jesus' name, amen. Okay, so a healthier me and a healthier you. I'm sure, as we putting into practice every day what we are learning and working towards those goals, that it would be soon, a new you at the end of our session here at the end of the 8 weeks. I just want to invite you to share some feedback. We have put within the chat video clips on stretching, as well as on, because last week we were emphasizing the different stretches. And we also had, some other video clips. Let me see the hands of, or you could unmute or put a message in the chat for those who have been getting all worked out with their stretches and different types of exercises. Have you been naughty or nice? Let's see. Have you been really good to yourself this week by engaging in some of those exercises that we put up in the chat?
Yeah.
Hi, Miss Christine.
Dr. Nash, good night.
Hi, hello.
I did a few stretches this week, but besides stretches, I have I'm always around the house doing whatever, little hard work. So I think that could incorporate with some of the exercises. I think, I'm not sure.
Wonderful. Yeah. So you're pulling and pushing and everything. Yeah, but do the little stretches in the morning time when you get up to get the body all worked up, and to be quite fit for later in the day. But that's quite good. Excellent. And congratulations to you to actually trying it out, the stretches.
Okay.
As Peggy said, yes. Okay, wonderful. And, I could repost it in the chat if some of you missed that entry where we had, a gentleman and he was showing some of the stretches. We here at the center did our stretching this morning. And just before the folks went out to do the walk, they did their, okay, I should say the internet is unstable this evening, so I got bumped out. That's the second time since I've been logged on. So just bear with us. Let's start by sharing screen.
Taking good care of your health is a personal responsibility. To do a good job, it requires knowledge and practice. Join us for 8 weeks to wellness and become a healthier you. Each week, you will get new guidelines and wellness challenges. In the end, you will be on your way to living a healthful lifestyle and enjoying the benefits. So join us, Healthier Me.
Amen. All right, so I'll send that little video clip, share it with your friends as well, and encourage them to join. Now, Dr. Natalie Nash, and I'm here at the Pure Wellness Lifestyle Center in Trinidad. And here we're having activity going on. Last evening, we welcomed our new cohort of individuals. There's some of them, and they were quite excited to be having their last supper because today we put them on 2 meals for breakfast and their lunch meal. And so it's they are working on being healthier in a shorter time frame than 8 weeks because they're here for a shorter duration, but actually with us at the center and enjoying everything that we will do with them to support them in improving their health. Healthier Me, it's a step-by-step approach to improving my health in 8 weeks' time. And the whole thing is about building habits, healthier habits, as each week comes by and we sort of share new goals with you. So we recognize that everyone would be on different points in their journey, and you could probably be that you're not ready yet. We're hoping that that changes if that's where you are at step 1. If you're at step 2, you're probably thinking about being healthy, but you're here on the set, so someone has invited you and you took the time out to watch, to listen, and we congratulate you for that. You may be at step 3, where you're preparing to live healthier. So you're literally putting things in place, maybe joining some local health club or getting to the gym, signing up there. Or maybe you're sort of reworking your pantry and getting some right foods. We'll be talking about foods in today, and hopefully you'd start getting to the stores tomorrow to make sure that you acquire some healthier fats to add your diet. Either you're at step 4 where you're reaching your health goals. Yeah, you're practicing wellness every day. You're doing really good. And or you're at step 5 where you're maintaining health and your diet and your good weight and everything. And that's a good place to be. And I see folks like that as well. You know, not everyone who comes to me is need a lot of adjustments. But there are some who are doing really well and they just want to maintain the health, and that's good. That's a good place to be. No matter where you are on your journey, we are all on this together. So you're not alone. In week 1, we covered a number of different activity points. I'll tell you about them. Then week 2, okay, so let's see. Week 1, we talked about sleep and its importance. Last week, folks reported that they're getting better rest. And, you know, I had someone here with us, and she told me that, no, I don't really sleep well. But last evening, she did spend a little time in cool water in the pool. And it was quite calming and relaxing for her. And she got good sleep. Yeah, just from the first night, but based on just, you know, toning down the activities and the mindset, being in a more relaxed mode, and she got good sleep. Now, water, drinking 6 to 8 glasses of water daily, and that's our goal, and even more. Okay, 6 to 8 glasses and more. So as long as it's hot, sunny, you're perspiring, you're losing fluid, you need to replenish. And physical activity, you want to be able to engage in movement. And we added last week the stretching and strengthening weight-bearing exercises. And that's also going to help you to improve your outlook in life. So today we're going to give you a new challenge, and that is incorporating healthy fats into your diet. Healthy fats. So Genesis 1:29 tells us, and God said, behold, I've given you every herb-bearing seed which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree in which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed to you, it shall be for meat. Of course, the session is interactive. If you do have any questions, please put them into the chat. and we'd be able to respond. So the herb-bearing seeds were given to mankind way back in the beginning of time for our food. Every fruit of a tree yielding seed to you, it shall be for meat. So the fruit given and the seeds were given for us to eat as part of our original diet. If you think about a grain of rice, a grain of legume, peas or beans, they are literally seeds. And they can be planted to bear fruit, or you can eat them. And that gives you food and nutrients that's packed within it and so tiny small. Imagine, look at this big watermelon in the background, and the watermelon seeds are tiny. Yeah, they're small. And that could be planted and grow big, fine, long vines and bear fruit. That's a huge, big watermelon or pumpkin, similarly, and can give you food, so much more. So from a little seed, God blesses, and you get a whole lot more. And that's what he does in our lives as well. From your little faith that you have in him, believing, trusting in him, he can bless that, and it can magnify, multiply into something really big that can benefit not only you, but everyone around you. This watermelon could be shared with everyone around you. If you had to eat this seed, it's just you. So God has given us food. Now we're looking at fats. And so the first one, the different types of fats. And why are we talking about fats this evening? It's because fats tend to play a role in causing human beings, but if they consume fats that would be too much for the body to metabolize, or the type of fat it is that doesn't really work well for our human being system, that can lead to cholesterol deposits that sets up shop in our arteries. And so you have a condition called atherosclerosis. You have high cholesterol levels in your blood work, high LDL levels, and that can lead to narrowed arteries that can eventually cause individuals to have heart attacks or strokes or embolisms, and the list goes on. So ensuring that we have fats, yes, in our diet, yes, but the right kind is important. And if you don't know, you find that you could be consuming items that can be problematic in the long run. What we see is that individuals, when they consume oils in their diet, they're priming themselves up for health issues, challenges, and disease conditions. So unsaturated fats, it's found in vegetable oils, and you have polyunsaturated fats, and all these are scientific names, and we're not going to go down the science of why it's called a poly and why it is called unsaturated, but just simply to let you know where to look for these things. In your corn oil, sunflower oil, soybean oil, sesame seed oil, sesame oils, for example, will have unsaturated fat. So the bonds can be many, and it's not as concentrated as a saturated kind. You find that individuals would probably prepare their food with these vegetable types of oils. One of the cautions that I'd like to say, however, is that it is rich in omega-6 fatty acids. And if you consume this day after day after day, that could be problematic with you having too much omega-6 fatty acids, and therefore it can increase inflammation within the body, and that we don't want. So when I'm working with folks and I watch to see what type of oils that they are preparing their meals with, I would say, no, we don't want to see canola. We don't want to see rapeseed oil. We don't want to see the soy. and the vegetable oils. That shows up, but you have a condition, and so we want to correct that, and let's reduce your inflammatory intake. So, so basically, let's shift and look to see. So all of these are different types of oils. We just identified them for you. You have nuts that comes into play. Just a second. Let me just, okay. So you have nuts, and in an Adventist health study, it was shown, we just talked about the seeds, Genesis 1:29 seeds, and a nut is literally like a seed as well for a plant that could be planted. You think about a cashew nut, that can be in the ground in its more natural state where it's encased, and that will shoot out a bud and can bear a tree. We eat the nuts. It's a seed in there, but we eat the nut. We call it nuts. So nuts is it is an item that contains fats, but it's in a way in which we can eat that as a fat, and it would be beneficial to our body as compared to an oil. Now, I'd say oils do not grow on trees. Nuts do. Your tree nuts, they grow on trees. And so the oils would be in a more concentrated form. We just talked about soybean oil. You have the soybean, but for you to extract the oil from it, think about how much of that soybean you'd need to and process it to get to the oil. Similarly, an olive. But think about how many olives need to be processed to get olive oil. Similarly, coconut, we talk about that in a little bit. So all of these things, let's get back to the original source. You will get fats, but in good minute amounts that is not too much for your system to handle and therefore cause problems. So even in our nuts, you can have your walnuts, your pecans, your peanuts, but you know about peanut oil. So again, let's eat the peanuts and get your fats, and as opposed to doing the peanut oil, it's too much for your body. Whichever it is, you're getting the nuts, great. The studies show that nuts can be beneficial. Instead of using the oils, let's get fats, but from in a less concentrated form, such as in the nuts and our seeds. And when you eat it, the body would be able to handle it, metabolize, break it down, and gain the nutrients that it needs and can be drawn from the food item, and everything will be okay. However, we don't want to overdo on the nuts. I have sometimes individuals would come to me and they would say, 1 packet of nuts, cashew nuts, that doesn't stay long within our family. We could consume a packet of that within a week. And I'll be like, okay. Too much. It's so tasty, it's delicious. Most times when it's salted, I tell you, it's really delicious. You want to eat and eat and eat, as opposed to when it's raw. But some folks have a tolerance for even when it's raw, and that even cause them to eat and eat. We need to be moderate in all things, and therefore we need to be careful not to eat too much of the nuts because it will cause problems. Now, look at the statement. In an Adventist health study, men and women who ate nuts 5 or more times a week had half the risk of heart attack as those who seldom ate nuts. So by them, these people who were eating nuts at least 5 times per week, 5 times, 5 or more times in a week, they cut the risk of heart attack by 50%. And that's a great thing. Now, don't take that and then say, I will just eat and eat and eat nuts, because if you overdo, you topple over the scale and you run into problems. there was a gentleman who heard about this and he went to town on eating nuts, and he got a heart attack because he did not do it right. You know, when we're talking about eating nuts, you're looking to have a closed handful. Okay, put it in your hand and close it, closed handful. And that's how you can eat your nuts, but not like a grab with both hands open and say you put that on a plate and you're eating. Or you're watching TV and you're eating, or you're driving and you're just popping nuts. No, gotta be moderate. And so 1 ounce can fit within your closed handful, and that can improve your health and longevity, because if it can of getting a heart attack by 50% right away, your health is improved and you could live. There are individuals who can get a heart attack and they don't live to tell their story. Or you don't want to overdo, and then it causes a problem. You know, the Adventist health studies are phenomenal when it comes to identifying lifestyle diseases and its impact on our health. And I did a session on that previously on our Monday Night Live, so you can go back to earlier sessions, especially in the launch of this 8 Weeks to Wellness series. We did show you the Adventist health study then and talked about it. So when it comes to lifestyle diseases, they would always, you know, the study was based on nutrition and these lifestyle diseases. So it tells a lot that by being on a total plant diet, it showed reduction in blood pressure issues, reduction in your diabetes numbers, and the list goes on. Just as an FYI, over this weekend, I have some of my family members out in Loma Linda, California, and they went to the University Church on Sabbath, and you know, came back and told us that at the Loma Linda University over the past week had a visitor, the King and Queen of Tonga, the island out in the Pacific Ocean. And so they were invited to visit our facility there and to understand health. Yeah, they went to understand how we do health, how we run our health facilities, and how health is incorporated into the daily lives of individuals. And these practices, very much what we're teaching you here. And folks are living long, they're living healthier. And the folks there in Tonga, they have been watching us for quite a while, very much interested in what they can do different in their country for their people. You know, a lot of them use oils and they're quite overweight. And so they want to make things different. Isn't that a wonderful thing? And here you are getting this information as well. So it can make a difference for you. There are lots of people who are looking on and want it to make a change in their lives. So you do have a lot of the nuts, the seeds, even the nut butter. You have pumpkin seed butter, sunflower seed butter, you have almond butter. What else do you see? Peanut butter, of course. And so you can make your own spread, put it on your bread, and eat that up. And it's a great way to incorporate fats into your daily meal. So you can have your close handful of nuts and seeds, or you can have a slice or two of toasted bread with a spread of nut butter on that to end your meal with. For me, I like this. And sometimes I'll put raisins, just top it up on with raisins and then eat it. So you have a natural quick fruit bread, and it's quite tasty for your dessert. Let's have a look at another form of fats, and that's omega-3 fatty acids. And so we're told that 1 to 2 grams of healthy fat daily may cut your risk of a fatal heart attack in half or more. What is that looking like? Anywhere such as a quarter And this is like flaxseed, particularly, no, not flaxseed, we're just looking at grams of fat. So 1 to 2 grams would be anywhere like 1/4 to 1/2 of a teaspoon of fat content. And took up a pecan, for example, it has fats in it, but that's not all. Yeah, pecan or walnut, it has fats, but that's not all to the nut itself. There are other constituents. So for fat measured on its own, 1/4 to 1/2 of a teaspoon daily can help to improve your health. When it comes to omega-3 fatty acids, you can find that in your flaxseed and your walnuts. So your flaxseed, flaxseed, you get the seeds, but you need to break it. So you can purchase a coffee grinder to blend your seeds and break that seed quick and easy. Or if you did it in your NutriBullet, you need enough seeds to cover the blade so that you can pulse and pulse. Or in your blender, if you have a good blender, you can just pulse it and it breaks open the seed. You need to break open the flaxseed in order to get the nutrients for your body. So the flax meal, when that is broken down, you're looking to add to your plate 1 to 2 tablespoons of that daily, every day. And that would help you to get sufficient omega-3 fatty acids. This is really good if you have heart-related problems. If you have high blood pressure, this is like medicine for you. You know, improving your omega-3 fatty acid intake. If you have diabetic, you know, just normal health, you have poor circulation issues, let's incorporate flaxseed. Keep it on your table. You know, you have all your nuts and your seeds line up here at the center. We have it in jars, all of our nuts, our seeds, and the flaxseed. We keep it refrigerated. Once it is, you know, you break that seed, you keep it refrigerated, so you may have leftovers to use the next day. But if within a day, 1 to 2 tablespoons, you don't want to increase it more than that. Just stick within the framework here. Now, 1 handful of walnuts, a handful, closed handful of walnuts. In fact, a serving size for your walnuts will be like 4 walnuts. And that's enough to give you omega-3 fatty acids for your day. So this is like every day, where am I getting my omega-3 fatty acids from? Omega-3 fatty acids are not only good for the heart, but it's also good for the brain. Your brain consists of fatty tissues, and the omega-3 fats helps with that, also helps with your nerve conductivity. And therefore, it's quite an important item to have. I would recommend flax seeds any day for you getting your omega-3 fatty acid. Get it from walnuts, get it from chia seeds, even hemp seeds. You can have that as an option. And when you do have these items, they're quite beneficial to the body, as opposed to using fish oil, even in a capsule, to get your omega-3 fatty acids. You don't need to resort to fish or fish oil. As a matter of fact, I was looking at a chart, and when measured gram to gram, you got more omega-3 fatty acids from your flax seeds than you would get in your salmon fish. Okay, folks are looking to salmon fish to get omega-3, but you get more of it in your flaxseed. And it doesn't come with increasing your cholesterol at all like the fish would. You know, the fish can increase your cholesterol. It's a flesh food that you're eating. It has cholesterol in it. So let's stay with the plant sources and you'd be fine. Okay, saturated fats. It's found mainly in animal fats. Saturated fats, it's too much, quite concentrated for our body to metabolize, to break down. So it's found mainly in animal fats. So you have your meats, your lard, your butter, your whole milk, ice cream, cream, full cream milk. It's also found in coconut. And yeah, you know, that white meaty portion of your coconut has saturated fats in it. So that's why if you're using coconut milk, coconut oil, you want to watch the regularity of that. Don't have it too often, day after day after day. You're taking in saturated fats, even if it's from a plant source, and that's going to be too much for the body. That can cause the increase in your LDL levels, low density lipoprotein. It can cause an increase in fatty deposits within your blood. That can also increase your cholesterol levels. Okay, so anytime you're increasing saturated fats or having it too regularly, no, you need to reduce that. So caution, reduce your saturated fat in your diet. And as a matter of fact, for healthier outcomes, we will take all of these out, just strike them out, any fats coming from the animal sources. And you can do the coconut, but there are other ways. I mean, if you had a piece of coconut, you ate that, that's phenomenal, that's good. But if it is that you have it in an oil form, you cannot have too much of it to add to your meal every day. No, or to cook your food with it. Even to juice that, to blend it down and get the milky portion and to cook with that every day. No, that will cause problems and increase your blood pressure, narrow your arteries with fatty deposits. It doesn't work. I've seen it over and over. Folks, when they are repeatedly having the saturated fats from coconut, end up having problems, just as if they're eating the animal foods. All right, and even just cooking with oil on a whole, regularly they add oil and the quantities end up having problems, just as if they're eating the animal foods. So we want to reduce, make sure you're doing everything moderately, very little in your preparation of your food if you had to use it at all. I knew of a gentleman that I used to connect with, and he would cook his rice with coconut milk every day. And I was talking to him and he was explaining how he would cook his rice, but coconut milk, it would steam it down. It's so delicious. Yes, but I watched him and he had signs all around his eyes of high cholesterol within his blood. And I said, you need to go get yourself checked out because I think your cholesterol level is high. And so we got to watch these items. Now, limit your snack foods. Processed and packaged foods can very well be prepared with these saturated fats, and that would be a problem. Go for lower saturated fat foods. And so you want to go for lower. Once you have foods that are pure, straight, natural, and fresh, you don't have to worry about these things because it's in small amounts. Even if it were to have fat in it, it's in small amount. Your body could tolerate it and you'd be okay. But once you go into the processing, there you have a problem. So where do we get saturated fats from? We just gave you a list, but here you can see the nice little poultry, your sausages, your red meat, and steaks, and all of those things, all of your cheeses from animal source, butter, and milk, animal milk. All of these are different ways in which you can increase saturated fats with your intake of food. Your coconut, again, be ever so cautious with that delicious coconut. Trans fats is another way in which you can have an unhealthy fat intake, and that is a fat that's formed when your vegetable oils are converted through a process of hydrogenation into a fat that is now solid, even at room temperature. Example, shortening, margarine, certain butters. So it's coming from a vegetable oil. And so you would see on the label says no cholesterol. Oh, well, that catches your attention, but it's a trans fat still. And it's a stick of butter, no cholesterol. And because it's coming from an animal, sorry, from a vegetable oil. But it has hydrogenated oils and fats in there that has changed its composition to be solid, even at room temperature, and that's a problem. What would trans fat do? It can increase your cholesterol level. Now, cholesterol is not all bad. Cholesterol is good. Yes, cholesterol is good. We just need to have it within the right range. Once you go over that, then you have problems. So it can increase your cholesterol levels, and you don't want that. So if your cholesterol is high today, say you go and you check the doctor, you do some blood work, and your cholesterol level is at 242, and you say, wow, it's over 200. I need to get that down. Well, let's remove the butter from your food preparation and intake. Let's remove that margarine, trans fat, saturated fat. Maybe you're eating flesh foods. So we're talking about wellness and improving your health. If these things are part of your pantry, of your refrigerator, you have a problem, a challenge already. It's late in the game. You need to make changes and don't delay. So start making those changes. Remove the animal foods, remove their byproducts, and watch those fats and oils from hydrogenated oils. If you were to read your packets, sometimes you would see, hydrogenated oil. So want to watch that. It increases your risk for heart diseases where you have atherosclerosis or hardening of the arteries and different kinds of issues. Diabetes, and certain cancers, such as prostate cancer, colorectal cancer, and there's some variations with breast cancer. Some studies says it will impact, others don't see it in the test groups, but it's something to watch. So when a lot of times folks would say, well, I have prostate, and my prostate is enlarged. How can that be? What are we intake? What is our intake? What are we eating? So these oils, even if it is from a vegetable source, can aggravate and irritate that prostate gland. These oils, when changed into trans, it's changed into a different form of fat. It's now in a solid form. You're eating the butter. That's going to irritate your prostate gland, cause it to enlarge. It can lead to prostate cancer. And folks could be eating vegetables and being a vegetarian and so forth, but what are they doing additionally that can cause them to have problems? Colorectal cancer. You could be eating all the vegetables with great fiber to have good sweeping and movement of your colon, but you have, a nice hefty plate of a vegetable salad, of lettuce and so forth, and then you have a bread toasted with some nice butter on there. You can still have problems. The thing is, we're repeating. This is a habit every day. We love it so much, hot bread and butter. Who doesn't love that? It has a great taste. And so you're eating it repeatedly, and the body's just breaking down, breaking down, breaking down. One day you crash. So watch these items, and you see its connection to disease. If you have any of these issues today, let the information be helpful to you and to make the change. Sometimes we would say, well, I am not eating KFC, the fried chicken, but you go to the same place and buy fries. And when you buy the fries and you eat it, what kind of oil are you getting within your system? And it can do harm to you as well. So you're eating the ice cream, trans fat again. You know how much fat is within an ice cream? Lots and lots of fat within an ice cream. I've seen recipes and I've tried them in the past, to make a delicious coconut ice cream or a strawberry ice cream. Vegan, 100% vegan. And you would not know if you tasted it. It's creamy. It has the right texture when it's cold, and it looks just like this, but there's no animal fat in it. But I would tell you, you know how much oil that would take to make it that way? Lots of oil. Similarly, we used to make a butter that would spread on a hot piece of bread, and it would spread and it will just melt away like real butter that you would get, the nice Blue Band butter or country life butter, whatever brand you want to have it. And so you can spread that on, and we can make a nice 100% vegan. The other day, my son told me he ate a vegan meal 1000%. So it's like that, and it would spread, great texture, everything tasting like butter. You would say, I can't believe it's not butter. But the amount of fats, the amount of oil you got to put in that, it's really something else. The blender just filled with oil, and we could get it to come like that, but it's not healthy, so we stopped making it and stop showing people how to make it. It's not healthy still, because coconut oil in there, saturated fat, it has olive oil, and so it's still oil content. So you want to watch the oils. When you have these chips, they have oil in them, even if it's nice corn chips or whatever it might be. And don't talk about the pastries. All of these cakes and other things, they have oils, fats, trans fats in them. So they don't add up to make healthy. So again, you might be total vegetarian, but you're having these items and it can impact you nonetheless. So how much saturated fats are you eating today? And how do you know? You will have to simply write down everything that you've eaten over the last 2 to 3 days, and then start checking in the ingredients and see where you might find oils. Even if you purchase something, what went into the ingredients in here? Did oil go into it? What type of oil? And you might be surprised that you are getting saturated fats in. Read your labels and it will tell you, and that can give you an idea. So we want to reduce that and not have much of it. Okay, so question here. What are examples of healthy fats? I gave away my answer. This didn't get animated. Okay, so what are examples of healthy fats? I want you to raise your hand, put a note in the chat. What are examples of healthy fats? Okay, I give you a starter. It's an olive. It would be an example. Any other? Let's see. Avocado, excellent. Nice, love avocado. Everybody loves avocado. Walnut, great. Nice. Any other nice healthy fats? Okay. Peanuts, seeds, flaxseed. Wow, you guys are brilliant. Excellent. Nice. So let's see. Well, this list needs to update. Brazil nuts. Wow, I have to really let me see. I have to change this. Add on your nice healthy fats that you've shared with us here. We gotta change. We gotta add these things on. See my screen still? Oh, excellent. Yeah, so let's add on. I see Brazil nuts and chia seeds. And chia. Well, we had seeds, all the list of seeds and all the list of nuts. Yeah. Pine nuts. Yeah, pine. That's a little bit more expensive, but some folks are able to get it within their reach. Yeah, so all of these are nice examples. We have the flaxseed. Thank you. Hemp. All right. All the seeds. Yeah, we got walnuts. Let's add walnuts. Nice. That all of those are nice, healthy items. Yeah, so your avocado, your olives. In fact, when it comes to reducing cholesterol in the body, in your arteries, you can use olives. 7 olives daily can help to break up that plaque deposits within your arteries and to help you to clear out and get nice, healthy arteries. These fats are important, these nice healthy fats here. They contain vitamin E. They help your blood vessels and your arteries to be nice and pliable. We don't want them stiff and hard. So you want to be able to have nice flexible arteries. That can help to improve your blood pressure. Because sometimes if they're quite stiff and hard, it can cause problems for you. So great. Let's just okay. So that's fantastic there. We just save it and open back up our screen. Thank you. All right. So here we get really interesting. We want to look at how you can put together your breakfast and your lunch and incorporate fats in your diet. So this is a plate, and we look at the plate to sort of identify how to put your food. Now, you see the fats here. You're going to have fats at the end of your meal. That's like a guide, a rule. Better to have your fats towards the end of your meal. And here you have your olives, your 7 olives. Rinse your olives out, okay? Wash them out. They will be salty. So wash them out. And then you have a handful of your nuts or your seeds, whatever seeds and nuts you want to bring together. And then you have your coconut. Yep, you have your piece of coconut. These are options. Don't go for all of them at one time. These are options. Now, you always want to start off eating your food with the raw food. So it could be fruit, such as your apples, your bananas, papaya, watermelon, grapes, you know, whatever, cherries, guavas. You start your food plate with your fruit, raw food item. And then you have your vegetable. That can be lettuce. Lettuce can be eaten raw. And you'd find that's quite going to beneficial for you. So once you have that raw, let's go half of the plate. You want to see your vegetables there. What are we going to cook? Are we going to cook some cabbage, some broccoli, some cauliflower? And you can steam them and or cook it up in the pot. With how much oil are we going to put? Very little to no oil. You can steam your, you can cook your veggies by sauteing your onions and your garlic in water. Sometimes, especially if you have a heart problem, especially if you have cholesterol, you want to reduce your fat intake in the form of concentrated fats in the form of oils. If you have cholesterol, you can still do your nuts and your seeds, of course, in moderate amounts with your closed handful, but you want to reduce your cooking with oil. here, listen to how the body works. If you eat a fat item in your food, it goes in your mouth. You chew it up. It goes down your esophagus, gets to the stomach. Okay, welcome. It does nothing in there in terms of digestion, but it gets moved along in time to a nice place called your duodenum. And there, that's just after the stomach, between the stomach and the small intestine, the duodenum, and it begins to, your liver says, okay, here we have some fats, and you have carbohydrates, and you have fat. So let's make some bile to break down that fat. How are we going to make the bile? Well, liver, could you send me some cholesterol? Because your gallbladder says, I'm ready to take on some bile. And your duodenum says, I'm ready to receive some bile. Could you send some bile? Liver gets to work, start making some cholesterol, producing that. Cholesterol says, okay, we're ready to go. Let's get together with some other little items in there and make some bile. There's green stuff like palmolive, squeezy. And it goes and it starts to break down the fat. And it just gets into smaller molecules and so forth to go into your intestines. And the body would say, hooray, look, we're getting some vitamin E here. And it starts to take that into your bloodstream and goes to different parts of your body. So when you eat huge amounts of fat, the same thing, you need huge amounts of bile. And you put a burden on and a load on your liver to produce cholesterol, to help break bile, to break down that fat food into smaller molecules, and your cholesterol level is up. It's in your bloodstream, high. So we want to watch that as we have the fat intake. So again, I was mentioning you can literally cook your food with simmering your onions and your garlic in water. Okay, you just get it cooked up nice in water, then you add your veggies. There are times too when I would even blend my onion and my garlic in some water, blend it, put that in the base of the pot, and then cook the rest of the food. A lot of times, I tell you, the way in which we prepare our food, it is cultural, and folks are not preparing food for healthy reasons. It's just the way we do it. That's how my parents taught me. My mom taught me to cook this way. My grandmother does it this way. And so it's done with all of these ways, but you don't have to put that oil in there. Carbohydrates, your grains comes in right here, and your protein at the end. In this quarter, you have your protein, your peas, and your beans. Your carbohydrates are your provisions. So there's where you get your carbs. We'll talk about carbs next time. And then you have your protein. So all these are, this is how you can put your plate. Here you have pictures to give you an idea. Drink water instead of juices, and juice that's loaded with preservative items, coloring, or even sugar. You can be safe with water. Don't drink and eat at the same time, okay? But water in between your meal times. So you have your fats, your choice of fat, your choice of carbs, your choice of protein, and your choice of your fruit and vegetable. Okay, so I'm watching the time. And I want to just take you to something else, and I will give you an idea. Okay, so let's just go here. We're almost done. So if you hang on, we're almost done. So here is an example of how you can put your food together. You have your banana, raw food. You have your cooked plantain, no oil. You can boil your plantain, steam your plantain, bake it, and no oil added yet. This baked plantain, simply slice, cut in the oven, nothing added to it, and bake it at 350 degrees. You have your brown rice, you have your peas and your beans, and you have your fats at the end. a close handful of cashew nuts, for example, can be your food. Look at this plate where you have some black rice, you have your, you have your peas. And not only the garbanzo or chana peas, there are lots of other kinds of peas that you can have. It's just a coincidence. This is what I have up. But your lettuce you start off with, and then you have your broccoli and it's cooked nicely, and you have your handful of almond nuts at the end, and that's your lunch. So you can eat like this for breakfast, and you can eat like this for lunch, and you're good to go. And it's quite filling. Oh, by the way, the secret for not snacking in between meals would be to add the fats at the end of your meal. It's like a closure for your meal time. It's like a dessert for your meal time. And there you can have that. Now, let me tell you, I'm saying this now and I could repeat it another time coming up. But I've been to places really, the other day when I went out to Africa, we saw individuals there where it's difficult for them to have access to peas and beans because the supply of it is very limited within their country. And because it's in limited amounts, it's expensive. And so it was difficult for folks, the minimum wage and everything. It's really tough for people. And I remember talking to this one young lady and I said, lentils, and she was puzzled. She didn't know what lentils was. And she told me, well, the peas, it's a bit expensive. I said, okay, but she said she would try. She was very willing and she would try to have them. And when I went to the supermarket myself, I saw literally just very little that's available for purchase, and it really was expensive. So like about $6 for 1 kg, that's almost a pound, a little over. So $6 for that. Imagine having to get enough of that to feed a family over a month. And minimum wage is very low. So we watched what was happening. I was there with a group of church leaders, and it really pained our hearts to see that the folks didn't have the access and the means to have better and total plant diet. So they have the nuts and the seeds, and we will continue discussions about how they can use those. Incorporate peanut is excellent when it comes to protein. But you gotta watch, make sure you have good, healthy peanuts, not peanuts that has aflatoxins in it, that's moldy or any of those things. So you work with what we have. And so what we suggested is where better couldn't be done, that folks can eat healthy eggs. If they have their homegrown chicken, it's healthier. And if they had access to fish, clean fish from a biblical standard, fish with scales and fins and so forth, that was easy for them to put their hands on and to meet the pocket, then they have this. And it was prayerfully considered as where individuals do not have the sufficient means or what's available to them, then they do the best that they can, but eat food, rather than starve and not live or be at peril or be malnourished. That would not be good. God wouldn't want that for us. So it's a challenge in certain parts of the world still. And I met someone who told me of another part of Africa and where they eat worms, a certain kind of worm at times, for their protein. And that's what they have. And so it is still real in this modern world that's what it is. The governments do not support it. I saw loads of soft drinks and other kinds of unhealthy items that's available, but this isn't. And it's a real thing that we have to face as we work with individuals. But for you who have an abundance of peas and beans where you live, this is no excuse for you. Okay, so eat up that which the Lord has put within your reach. and work with what you have. But certainly do not go to be malnourished to reach to that state. They tried, to give us food, and I was very limited on the peas, and I felt the difference with me after a week. I was like hungry for my food, for my peas and beans, because it's quite sustaining, and it's nourishment, and it's your protein, and so I could feel the lack of it. So just wanted to share this with you. So what we titled it was the acceptable diet. So the ideal, all in green, ideal, the plate, but then what can be the acceptable? We're not going off all here into the red meat or anything, just simple items that can get you through. And there we got the little fish swimming in. So that's what we resorted to do. When it came to oils, we recognized too that in some societies that they were cooking with oils largely, and what we sort of talked about and brainstormed, I was there telling folks, don't cook with the oil, let's stop cooking with the oil. But when you thought about it, if it's not sustainable, and a lovely young lady came to me and she said, how can we cook our food without oil? Tell me. And I said, well, you just don't cook your food without oil. And she said, yeah, but our husband's going to tell us, that we don't know how to cook and report us to our families to say we don't know how to cook, because culturally they are accustomed to cooking with oil. So as you move and go through transition, let's say reduce the amount of oil. You know where you want to get to, and in a more safe space where it's not going to be impacting on your health. But let's reduce the amount of oil that we prepare our food with. And anywhere like 1 to 3 teaspoons, that's about 1 tablespoon of oil that you may add to your food. I mean, folks would even bake bread and prepare their bread with oil. But then again, you're not eating all of those loaves of bread. So oil can appear, but again, let us do everything in moderation. And the type of oils that you may be using, you need to watch. And if you have a health condition, a health challenge that could be impacted by the intake of oil, that also you need to be very mindful of and make the changes. So we know we want to get to the point where we're not consuming all of these oils. I've seen individuals where they're eating healthy, everything, and they still have oil in the diet and the blood pressure is high. When they reduce it, the blood pressure comes down. So coconut milk, fresh coconut milk in moderation can be another. But again, the repetition of it, space it out, don't have it every day because it will cause a problem. Your numbers, your blood work is going to show it up. And then avoid fried foods. Let's prepare the food different. We don't have to fry the food. You don't have to fry that plantain. You don't have to eat fried rice. You can just, cook your food nice and simple. And in that way, you avoid having to use the oil in so many dishes within one meal prepared with oil. That's trouble. Okay, so let's just watch that. And I have experienced even with the coconut, and that's why I put fresh coconut. With the coconut, the other day I had in my freezer sliced coconut. You have the white coconut jelly, it's hardened, and so you slice it up and you can eat, or you put it in your preparation of your food, your baking, whatever, you're making a coconut bake, a coconut bread. And so there was some leftover that got into my freezer, and I decided to take a handful of that and blend it with a banana. I was making a banana drink. And I said, I'll just have this for my milk substitute. So I did that and I blended it really nice. And then I proceeded to drink. And by the time I was done, I was like, what's that on my lip? Oil. I was like, my goodness. I had to take a napkin and rub it off for it to come off. I never knew because it was frozen, you had a concentrated fat and it was literally oily. So you've got to watch that. Okay, wrapping up supper. What do we eat for supper? No fats like this, no butters, no nuts or seeds for supper time. Because these fats, didn't I tell you that that's a secret to keep you from snacking in between meals? So it holds you out until your next meal time. So these oils, concentrated item within your butters, your nut butters, or within your seeds or your nuts item, that can be, if you eat that in the evening for your supper time, it can take too long to be digested and then cause delayed digestion of your food. You would end up wanting to sleep and food is still running around in your stomach and to get settled. So no fats for the evening supper time. Some people call this dinner, but in that last meal in the evening. And similarly, vegetables take very long to be digested. And the third meal prepared without vegetables, but in a simple, wholesome food, such as fruit and bread. And here's a statement: the stomach, when we lie down to rest in the nighttime, should have its work all done, that it may enjoy rest as well as other portions of the body. The work of digestion should not be carried on through any period of the sleeping hours. And we don't, coming from Counsels on Diets and Foods, page 175. You don't want to have late meat eating, snacking too close to bedtime. You want your stomach to be clear, all the food digested. Best time for supper, 6, and should be eaten at least 3 hours before bedtime. Here you have a nice bread and some pumpkin. This is pumpkin stewed down nicely without oils, and that can go together. You can have fruit, banana, eating papaya is really nice in the evening. And avocado, fat shouldn't be there. But, cucumbers, you can have a nice cucumber salad, cucumber and tomatoes, with a sprinkle of a little pink Himalayan sea salt, just a little, and that can make a nice salad for the evening. So here are your tasks this week. Number 1, eat 1 ounce of nuts every day. That's like, okay, so you want to have a handful of nuts and seeds at the end of breakfast, at the end of lunch. You want to switch to non-hydrogenated oils. So watch your packages and try to eat foods that's quite natural, that's not packaged or frozen or in these packets, because then you run into problems. They have to be held and preserved. Then reduce cooking with oils. Yeah, let that be your goal, to reduce cooking with oil. Do not deep fry foods. And you have food to prepare, nice and simple. Avoid frying. And then you also want to eat more home-cooked meals, because when folks prepare food for you, you eat on the outside, you don't know what they're putting into it. And that causes a lot of gut disturbances, a lot of allergies, and different kinds of reactions. Avoid red and processed meats. Park them aside, leave them alone. They're gonna be filled with saturated fats. And eat omega-3 fatty acid foods daily. So you can get your flaxseed, you can do walnuts, you can do chia seeds and hemp seeds. And then you want to replace solid margarine with trans fat-free items. And, so that might just simply be your olives or your olive oil, if you had to use a nice oil. And then have fun becoming a healthier me. Okay, so here are your challenges. Oh, this one need to be changed to 3. And the fat. So I'm going to send this out into the WhatsApp group, and you get to add a new goal this week by incorporating healthy fats every day. into our diet. And then you put 2 points for every day that you get your healthy fats in. Okay, so I have a recipe for you. I told you this evening it's going to be exciting. So we have a recipe for you how you could make a change. So instead of having the cheddar cheese that's on the outside in the supermarkets, you can make your own tomorrow. Okay, if you have all the ingredients. Do you know agar powder, or some places you get the long agar straw-like item in the Chinese shops and so on. So that tends to gel together and cause the item to firm up, right? So it's a seaweed item that will sort of have a gel finish. So you want 2 tablespoons of the agar powder, 1 cup of water, and you mix that together in over a pot, and it's bringing it to a boil. And as you stir it, you'd see everything comes clear and nice, but it's quite firm gel-like. And then here's what you're going to do in a blender. You have 1/2 cup of water, 3/4 cup of cashew nuts, 1/4 ounce of red pimento, and that's going to add for your flavor as well as your color. And then you have your garlic powder, and you also have 1 tablespoon of pink Himalayan sea salt. And so you get a lot of salt, but this is going to be a nice finish at the end. And then you have all of those items in your blender. You blend it up nice and thoroughly. You're going to add your lemon juice to it, and then you put your agar mixture in there. And once you do that, you find everything just comes together to sort of firm up. You quickly pour that out into a nice tray, and you put it into the refrigerator. And if you can get a little peek here in the picture, you could see the cheese it could slice. I would say what you put into the refrigerator, you try to score it before it gets hardened, or put it in smaller bowl setting, and so that you would have some to use for immediate, but then it's going to give you a big batch. So you have extra that you can freeze. And then once you wrap it up in some nice plastic and so forth, you can freeze that. And then you can take it out when you're ready and grate it. Yeah, you can literally grate that cheese, your cashew cheese now, onto your macaroni pie, onto your pizza, onto your bread, and eat that up. Okay. Another way in which you can add fats to our diet by using sunflower seeds. And here you have 1 cup of sunflower seed, 1.5 cup of water, 1 clove of garlic, 1 medium onion, 1/4 teaspoon of pink Himalayan sea salt, 1/4 cup of lemon juice, and 2 teaspoons of honey. And you're going to blend all of that together. So it's literally your sunflower seed water, and you put your seasonings to it to give it the taste. The lemon and honey gives it a nice, sweet, tart taste. And you taste it, make sure you like it. If you needed to add anything more to give it the flavor that you're looking for, you do that. When you have this, I like to steam my broccoli, steam my cauliflower, just plain steam it. And then I take this and I just strip it all over. Sometimes I'll steam carrots and celery, and then you cut it up nice cubes. And then I take this sunflower seed and I just, pour it over, and you just stir it around, and it's nice and creamy and delicious. You have flavor now to your steamed item, anything, cabbage, anything. So this is a really lovely way to get your seeds. And finally, this is an item we had at our center today, vegetable corn chowder. Well, yeah, I don't see. Okay, the nuts, cashew nuts. So there you got your fats. And but this is a nice, delicious item. So I'm gonna put these recipes into the WhatsApp chat. And so you all will have it and just write it down and try it. This is composed of water, sweet potato, onion, celery, carrots, corn, onion powder, comes in again, the pink Himalayan sea salt. You got corn, water, cashew nuts, and you're going to blend this so you get a more creamy finish to it. You don't want your chowder to be too watery. And then we also have some tofu, baked tofu. So it says you freeze the tofu when you bring it home, and then you thaw it out. And then you just take a paper, once it's thawed, you just take a paper towel and you press on your tofu, you press it down and squeeze out all that water so it's more dry. And then you slice it up and you put it in the oven to bake, and it comes with a nice, more firm texture when you cook it. So if you were to bake it and then you add it back into here, once everything is done, you just add it in and you let it simmer for a little bit so that the ingredients, the seasoning marinates into the tofu, and that's your protein. And so you have all the grain, the protein, the vegetables, your fat. This is like excellent. And so you can eat this, and if you have a slice of bread alongside with it, it can be quite filling and delicious. So the reports, the folks just thoroughly enjoyed this meal, and I know you will too, as long as you put that together. Okay, question. Can you use cornstarch if you do not have the agar? Yeah, you can use the cornstarch. That's for the cheese. The finish would not be as firm as the agar. It's going to thicken up and you can have like a cheese spread. Yeah, but it's not going to be as firm. Okay, another question. Are the black olives better than the green ones? They're both good. You know, black, the darker color would have more antioxidants in it, but they're both quite good items. Any one that you get will be fine. Okay, so there we go. Any questions that you may have? Please put your question in the chat or simply unmute yourself and you can ask your question. Okay. Just want to let you know what's happening. Next week, we start off on our 7-day detox program over the next 2 weeks, and folks have signed up and still want to choose spaces, and individuals are coming in for that special program. And at the center, we continue with our residential programs for the month of November and December. And I'll be putting out the ad soon for the new year lineup. And it's just going to be super exciting next year. But for those who do have their need right now, contact us so that you can be able to register. Would Brazil nuts be a good source of omega-3? No, Brazil nuts is better with selenium, and that's excellent for the brain. Okay. Hi, Sister Bernal. How are you? Can unmute yourself.
Thank you, Dr. Nash. As we were speaking about the nuts and the fats within the nuts, I was concerned because I think that I consume a lot of nuts. So I just wanted your point of view. I use nuts to make nut milk. So let us say I am making some oats. I would make almond milk to place in that oats, right? But let us say I'm eating the oats with a slice of bread, and there might be butter on the bread, whether it's peanut butter or nut butter, whatever butter. Should I still eat nuts at the end of such a meal that I already have nuts as nut milk and maybe as a spread? Sometimes even in cooking savory dishes, I would use cashews to make a cream sauce to place over certain dishes. Is it still advisable to eat the nuts, the handful of fresh nuts, roasted nuts or whatever after? That's what I was asking. Thank you.
Right. Okay, good. Yeah, just simply watch it because again, you don't want to have too much of it, and it can cause changes within your blood if it is that you have too much. So you are right with being observant as to this meal, this particular meal. how much of the fat content is within here, even if it's coming from a plant source. So that's really good. Watch to see whether your creams, mixtures has it. For the first example you gave, where you might have the cashew nut in your food, and then you have the nut butter on the bread, I'll say stop right there, as opposed to having a handful of nuts again. So that's the nut butter on a bread. It's either you have that or you have your handful of nuts rather than having both. So that's one way in which you could be able to manage and not have it so many times. Because if you do have it too many times, it could impact your health. You can find that your cholesterol levels could be elevated. I see people when the blood work and you know, it's a little bit high, and not that they having any of the flesh foods, but the fats in the oils, as well as in too much of the nuts. Yeah. Oh, good. So any more contributions? All right, if that's all, please add me so I can get the notes. Okay, Miss Peggy. Here's what you can do. I don't have, okay, there it is. I'm gonna drop the WhatsApp into the thing and see if you get it. If you're on your phone, you can just simply click on it and it will take you to the chat. This is to join the WhatsApp group. I'm gonna put it in the chat here. All right. And then here you have the website. I have to put on all the links on the website for things. Or there you have our number. Just send us a message in WhatsApp and we quickly just forward you the invite link and you would click on it to get into the WhatsApp group. Okay, great. So thank you everyone for your participation, for coming out, for sharing with someone, inviting someone to join you in this health journey. Remember, as we started, we said that it is a good idea to have a buddy, a health buddy who would encourage you, support you, and join you on your activities and your walks and so forth. And therefore, make sure that you're inviting others to come on and you can do this health together. It's always happier when we are healthier together. Can I have the recipe for the corn chowder? Yes, you can. Just simply send us a message in the WhatsApp on those phone numbers. What's the name of the WhatsApp group? It's Pure Wellness Lifestyle Center for the group. So once you click on that, it will take you and I'll see you there. I think yeah. So if you just click on that, it's going to be able to join you. All right. Okay, great. Thanks. Let's close with prayer. Heavenly Father, we want to give you thanks for this evening session and for understanding that you love us so much to even bless us with healthy foods and healthy fats. That can be quite great for our brain, our skin, our arteries, our blood vessels, our heart, and to learn about the different types and to be able to apply it to our choices. We want to ask that you continue to be with each individual here and continue to strengthen their faith and encourage them day by day to make healthier choices and to practice wellness. Be with us now as we separate. This is our prayer in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. And have a pleasant night all.
Okay, thank you.